We're all taught that being kind is one of the best things you can be. But what happens when that kindness starts to chip away at your own happiness? What if being generous all the time just leaves you feeling, well, empty? Today, we're going to talk about the incredible and sometimes really difficult power of saying one tiny word, no. And trust me, this isn't just about setting boundaries. It's about getting your own life back.
So let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're the go-to person for everyone, but only when they need a hand? You cancel your plans, you give up your own peace and quiet just to help someone who kind of vanishes the second their problem is solved? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then you're going to want to hear this story.
All right, so let me introduce you to our main character, Daniel. In his quiet little town, he's famous for being the most helpful, kindest guy around. But here's the thing. Daniel's greatest strength is also his biggest problem. He's stuck in what I like to call the kindness trap. And a lot of us have been there, right? It's that place where you're so afraid of disappointing people that you just say yes to everything, totally forgetting that you have needs too.
So Daniel's life is just this constant loop of helping other people. A neighbor's bike chain breaks, they call Daniel. Someone's moving and needs an extra pair of hands, they know exactly whose door to knock on. A friend is feeling down and just needs to talk, Daniel's the guy. And his reply every single time, without fail, is a cheerful, "Of course, I'll help." Because in his head, that's what being a good person is all about. Saying no would feel like he's failing.
But here's the real kicker. While Daniel is out there being a superhero for everyone else, his own world is just quietly falling apart. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's more like a slow, gradual decay that he barely even notices because he's so busy looking outward. He's so focused on fixing everyone else's issues that he's completely ignoring his own. This is the classic sign of being caught in that kindness trap.
And when you put it side by side, the difference is staggering. On one hand, you've got Daniel the town hero, mending bikes, moving boxes, being a shoulder to cry on. But then you look at his actual home. The garden's a mess, windows are cracked, and the roof has a leak every time it rains. The very foundation of his life is crumbling while he's busy propping up everyone else's.
Okay, so something's got to give, right? Every story has a turning point, and for Daniel, it literally came in the form of a storm. This crisis is what finally shoves the truth right in his face and leads him to a mentor who's about to change everything.
So picture this. The sky gets dark, the wind starts whipping around, a really nasty storm is rolling in. Everyone's scrambling to protect their own homes. But what does Daniel do? It's pure instinct. He doesn't even think. He just bolts over to his friend Oliver's house to help him save his stuff. He puts Oliver's needs first, automatically. By the time he gets back to his own place, it's just too late. His garden, his furniture, everything is ruined. So he's just sitting there, soaking wet, staring at the mess that used to be his beautiful garden. And his mother comes out and says these simple but absolutely gut-wrenching words. She's not mad, she's just stating a fact. And for Daniel, hearing that truth out loud, in that moment of total disaster, something inside him just snaps. He realizes his kindness hasn't built a community. It's just made him a caretaker for everyone else's life.
The next day, he's feeling totally lost. So Daniel goes to see this wise old teacher in town, Mr. Harris. He explains how his own need to be kind feels like it's breaking him. And Mr. Harris gives him this amazing analogy. He says Daniel's kindness is like a river. A river with strong banks is incredible. It nourishes everything. But a river with no banks, no boundaries, it just floods and destroys the very things it's supposed to help. That's unbounded kindness. It's generosity that's so limitless, it actually becomes destructive.
Let's just pause on that for a second. Kindness without boundaries becomes self-destruction. This is the whole thing right here. It's not that being kind is bad, of course not. It's the lack of limits. When you just pour and pour and pour into others without ever refilling your own cup, without keeping your own riverbanks strong, you're not just being kind, you're slowly erasing yourself.
So Mr. Harris doesn't just give him a nice idea, he gives him a game plan. A really simple 7-day challenge designed to teach Daniel the one skill he's never ever learned, how to say no. And it's not about being mean, it's about finally being kind to himself.
And the advice is so simple, it's brilliant. First, for just 1 week, don't say yes right away. Just pause. That little pause breaks the habit. Second, in that pause, ask yourself, will helping them harm me? And harm can be anything. Losing time you need, losing your peace of mind, losing energy you just don't have. If the answer is yes, if the cost is too high, the instruction is simple. Just say, not today.
And you know how it goes. The second you decide to change, life throws a test at you. His friend Oliver comes running over, needing help with something heavy. The old Daniel would have dropped everything. But this new Daniel, he pauses. His heart is probably pounding. He looks at his own broken fence, a job he's put off for months. And he takes a deep breath and says it, his first real no. And look at how he says it. It's not mean, it's honest. Today, I need to fix my own fence. He's setting a clear, respectful boundary.
Oliver is, of course, a little surprised, and Daniel feels it immediately, that awful pang of guilt. That's the people-pleaser inside him screaming. But then, as he's working on his own fence, hammering in the nails, something else starts to bubble up. A feeling he hasn't felt in forever. Pride. A quiet, solid pride in taking care of his own life. And that is a huge deal.
So, what happens when Daniel sticks with it? Does his world fall apart like he was afraid it would? Not even close. In fact, his world finally starts to come together, showing him all these amazing, unexpected rewards of setting boundaries. The change is incredible. You can see the physical results. His home gets fixed. The garden looks great. But it's the internal changes that are the most powerful. He feels calm and light, not exhausted and used. And here's the really fascinating part. People start respecting him more. They stop calling him for every tiny little thing. His time suddenly has value because he values it. He even starts to laugh again, a real laugh, not one that's hiding how tired he is.
Sometime later, Mr. Harris stops by, and this little conversation they have just sums up the whole journey perfectly. He asks if the world fell apart, and Daniel's reply says it all. His world didn't fall apart at all. In fact, it was the first time it ever really felt like it was coming together.
And that right there, that's the ultimate lesson. This whole story isn't really about the power of saying no. It's about what saying no finally allows you to say yes to.
This is such a huge mental shift. A lot of us are wired to think that saying no is selfish. But Daniel's story shows us a different way to look at it. It's not selfish, it's self-respecting. You're not choosing to be mean. You're choosing peace over the constant pressure of what everyone else wants from you. You're choosing your own well-being.
And this really just brings it all home. Every time you say yes when you really mean no, you're saying no to yourself, to your time, your energy, your needs. The moment you start setting those boundaries with other people is the moment you finally, truly say yes to yourself.
So I'm going to leave you with that to think about. Take a look at your own life, your own potential kindness trap. What's the first no you need to say so you can finally start saying yes to yourself? Thanks for listening.